Okay, imagine trying to navigate life's pressures, but instead of getting tossed around, you feel this like calm, steady control, making rational decisions, not just knee-jerk reactions.
That feeling. It's not some fantasy. It's actually what this whole idea, the power of not reacting, is all about.
Right. And that's what we're diving into today, isn't it? We've been looking at this approach, this book, The Power of Not Reacting, really digging into how to control your emotions.
Exactly. Our mission here is to sort of distill the core ideas, the practical stuff that can help you, our listener, get a better handle on your feelings and actions.
Moving from just reacting.
Yeah, to being truly responsive, which, can really improve your relationships, how you make decisions, just your overall quality of life.
Okay, so let's break this down. The material we've looked at, it positions emotional control as a really key part of emotional intelligence.
Right. That whole concept of understanding your emotions, managing them, and even recognizing and influencing emotions in others.
And a big piece of that puzzle, according to this book, is directing your own reactions. Keeping your cool, basically, no matter what's going on.
Yeah, and we've all been there, haven't we? Saying or doing something in the heat of the moment.
Oh, yeah. Regret city.
Totally. And then later you're thinking, oh, why did I do that? This material really highlights how letting emotions grab the steering wheel just leads to those impulsive actions, rash decisions.
But here's the hopeful part, right? The core message is actually really empowering. It's saying this ability to control reactions isn't fixed.
Not at all. It calls it a priceless talent, which sounds a bit grand maybe. But the point is, it's achievable.
It's a skill you can learn.
Exactly. Through understanding yourself better through practice, it's within reach.
So the journey we're taking you on today, it's about understanding why this control matters so much.
Recognizing your triggers, managing emotions when they pop up.
And handling challenges with a bit more grace and intention.
Precisely. So let's start with that first big piece. Understanding emotional triggers. Chapter 1 territory.
Okay, triggers. What are we talking about exactly? Events. People.
Yeah, it can be any of those. An event, a conversation, even a specific person that just sparks this intense emotional reaction in you.
Right. And they're super personal, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. Deeply personal. Often tied to, past experiences or beliefs you've held for a long time. Like emotional landmines, almost.
Yeah, I get that. Like, someone says something totally innocent, but it hits an old insecurity.
And boom, exactly. The book gives examples, like maybe bullying in the past makes an offhand comment now feel like a huge attack, bringing up insecurity.
We're feeling ignored.
Right. If you felt overlooked a lot, someone not paying attention now can spark real anger. It feels like it's happening all over again.
So the reaction isn't always about the present moment.
Often it's not. That's a huge insight. It's like an echo of the past, as the book puts it.
Ah, I like that phrase, an echo.
Yeah. You might be reacting more to a memory or a fear connected to the past than what's actually happening right now. Neurologically, the amygdala locks onto these emotional memories.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the goal isn't to beat yourself up over having triggers.
Not at all. It's about insight. Understanding your own emotional landscape better.
So you can choose how to respond instead of just being hijacked by the trigger.
Exactly. Gaining that bit of space, that choice.
And a big part of that is figuring out your usual reactions, right?
Yeah.
Your default settings.
Yeah, identifying your default responses. What do you automatically do when those strong emotions hit?
Anger, shutting down.
Could be. Or maybe people-pleasing, trying to smooth things over.
Mm-hmm.
Or blaming someone else. These often happen without us even thinking.
They're kind of like ingrained habits.
Conditioned reactions. And, they might have served a purpose once. Maybe they protected you somehow in the past.
But maybe not so helpful now.
Right. So the first step is just noticing.
Yeah.
Becoming aware. What's your pattern? Do you get loud? Go silent? Tears?
Requires some honest looking inward.
Definitely. Think back to high emotion situations. What did you do? And the key is observe without judging yourself.
Right. No self-criticism. Just notice.
Exactly. Because just identifying those patterns is the first really crucial step towards choosing a different way next time.
Okay, so we understand triggers. We're starting to see our default reactions. What about the body's role in all this? Chapter 2 talks about physiological responses.
Yeah, this is fascinating. Our bodies often give us these, early warning signals.
Like physical clues.
Exactly. Your heart rate picks up. Maybe your breathing gets shallow, that tight feeling in your chest, or, butterflies, or maybe a lead weight in your stomach. These aren't just random. It's your body saying, hey, something emotional is kicking off here.
So learning to read those signals is like learning a new language, your body's language.
That's a great way to put it. The language of self-awareness, physically, and like any language, it takes practice.
It might be confusing at first. Like,
Yeah.
does a fast heart mean fear or excitement?
Right. It can be tricky to differentiate initially. Anxiety might feel a lot like excitement physically. The key is just patience and curiosity. Keep observing.
Just notice what's happening without immediately jumping to conclusions or judging it.
Precisely, non-judgmental observation. Over time, you get better at interpreting your body's signals. You realize, okay, a fast heartbeat could be excitement, not just fear. That stomach lump might be anticipation, not just dread.
And knowing that gives you a heads up, an earlier signal that an emotion is brewing.
Exactly. It gives you valuable information you can use to manage the reaction before it fully takes hold.
Okay, so we're more aware of triggers, defaults, body signals. Now, how do we actually gain control in the moment? The book talks about creating a pause button, chapter 3.
Yes, the
Yeah?
mental pause button. Such a powerful idea. It's not literal, obviously,
Right.
but it's a mental strategy, a deliberate break you create.
Like hitting pause on your thoughts and emotions.
Sort of, it's putting a tiny gap between the trigger, the feeling, and your reaction, stopping that automatic chain reaction.
Like a mental stop sign pops up.
Exactly. The moment you feel overwhelmed or that urge to react hits, picture that stop sign. It's a cue to just halt, breathe, reassess before you act.
Sounds simple, but probably hard when emotions are high.
Oh, definitely. It takes practice. Patience. Don't get discouraged if it's tough at first. It's a skill you build over time.
What if you only realize after you've reacted? Is that still useful?
Absolutely. The book makes that point strongly. Just noticing, even after the fact, oh, I reacted there, I wish I'd paused. That's progress.
Okay. So awareness, even retroactively, is good.
It is. It means you're becoming more attuned. Over time, you'll get better at catching yourself before the reaction. It's like strengthening a muscle.
And breathing techniques are a big part of making that pause effective.
Huge part. Our breath is directly linked to our nervous system. When we get triggered, that fight or flight response often kicks in.
Shallow, rapid breathing.
Right, which actually makes anxiety worse and clouds thinking. Makes you more likely to react badly.
But consciously controlling your breath can change that.
Yes. It counteracts the physical stress response. It gives you that moment of calm, that mental space to think clearly and respond thoughtfully, not just react.
And the book mentions the 4-7-8 method specifically.
Yeah, it's a really effective one for calming down quickly. Simple pattern. Inhale through your nose for 4 seconds.
Okay.
Hold the breath gently for 7 seconds. Then exhale slowly and fully through your mouth for 8 seconds, maybe making a whoosh sound.
4.78.
Right. That pattern increases oxygen and it stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system. Promotes calm. Holding the breath helps circulate that oxygen too.
Wow. That sounds like something you can literally do anywhere, anytime you feel that emotional surge.
It is. And the more you practice it, the more automatic it becomes. Eventually, you might
Okay.
just do it instinctively in tough situations.
So next time you feel that anger rising, pause, breathe.
Yeah. It's a small action, but it's a massive step towards emotional control.
Okay, so beyond those immediate pause techniques, the book also really emphasizes mindfulness in everyday life. Chapter 4. How does that help long term?
Right. Mindfulness isn't just about meditating on a cushion, though that helps many people.
Yeah.
It's more fundamentally about being present, engaged in this moment, observing your thoughts and feelings as they come and go without judging them or needing to act on them immediately.
So how does that look in, like, normal life?
Well, take conversations. Are you really listening or just waiting to talk, planning your reply?
Guilty sometimes. Yeah?
We all are.
Huh.
But practicing mindful conversation, really tuning in, paying full attention, makes you less likely to react impulsively. You respond more thoughtfully.
Makes sense. What about other things?
Mindful eating is another example. Instead of rushing through lunch while scrolling your phone, actually savor the food. Notice the textures, tastes, smells. It makes eating more enjoyable, helps digestion, and you notice when you're full more easily.
So bringing that awareness to simple things.
Exactly. Even routine stuff. Washing dishes, brushing your teeth, walking. Focus on the sensations: warm water, toothbrush feel, feet on the ground.
Instead of letting your mind race.
Right. It cultivates this baseline calm throughout your day. Makes you less reactive overall, more grounded.
This naturally leads into developing self-awareness skills, which is Chapter 5, taking that mindfulness inward.
Precisely. Becoming the observer of your own inner world thoughts, emotions, behaviors. gently, compassionately, without judgment.
And you start seeing patterns.
Yeah, you might notice, I get really irritable when I'm tired, or I feel anxious in big groups.
And those patterns give you clues.
Exactly. Valuable insights into your triggers. Then you have more opportunities to choose a different response next time those feelings or situations come up.
So again, it's not about stopping the feelings.
Nope. It's about navigating them more effectively, learning to work with them.
Self-awareness also means being honest about strengths and weaknesses.
Yes. It takes courage to look honestly at where you struggle, but that's where the growth happens. Facing limitations allows you to change.
And sometimes an outside perspective helps with that. The book mentions an objective listener.
Yeah, that's a great point. Self-awareness is a skill, and sometimes a trusted friend, family member, or especially a professional, a counselor or coach, can offer really valuable insights.
See blind spots you might miss on your own.
Exactly. Offer a different lens that can be super helpful on that journey of self-discovery.
Still in Chapter 5, there's this crucial step, labeling and accepting emotions. Even the uncomfortable ones. Why is naming them so important?
It's foundational, really. You can't manage a reaction effectively if you don't first acknowledge the feeling driving it. Pushing uncomfortable feelings away often backfires.
So just putting a name to it, I'm feeling angry, or this is frustration,
Yeah.
actually does something.
It really does. Saying it, even just silently to yourself or writing it down, creates a bit of psychological distance.
Ah, okay. It separates you from the raw feeling.
Yes. You can observe it more objectively instead of being totally consumed by it, like taking a small step back.
And then, acceptance. The book is clear. Acceptance isn't resignation.
Crucial distinction. It doesn't mean you like the feeling or that you have to act on it or that you're stuck feeling that way forever.
So what does it mean?
It means acknowledging the emotion is there, it's part of being human, and it probably has a reason or purpose, even if it's uncomfortable. It's a signal.
Validating the feeling itself.
Exactly. You can accept feeling angry without lashing out. Accept feeling sad without falling apart. Acceptance gives you clarity.
And lessens the emotion's power to just dictate your reaction.
Precisely. It loosens its grip. Labeling and accepting.
Yep.
It takes practice, patience, but it leads to huge growth in emotional control. Really key.
Okay, once we can label and accept emotions, Chapter 6 introduces reframing negative thoughts. What's that about?
Reframing is basically a cognitive skill. It builds on that awareness and acceptance. It's about consciously choosing a more positive, or at least neutral, way to look at a situation.
Instead of defaulting to the negative.
Right, transforming your perspective, seeing it from a different, maybe more empowering angle.
Yeah.
It's not about pretending things are great when they're not.
Okay.
It's about shifting the meaning you assign to events.
Can you give an example, like the traffic jam one?
Yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah.
Stuck in traffic, late for a meeting, your first thought might be, ugh, typical, worst luck ever. Which just ramps up the stress.
Right. Been there.
Reframing would be consciously thinking, okay, this is annoying, but hey, unexpected downtime, I can listen to that podcast, or maybe I can make that quick call I needed to.
So you're still stuck, still late, but you're changing how you interpret it.
Exactly. Not denying reality, but widening your view. Acknowledging different angles and choosing the most helpful one for your own well-being.
That feels liberating. Shifting focus to what you can control your thoughts instead of what you can't with the traffic.
That's the power of it.
Yeah.
You control the interpretation, which then influences the emotion. It's a crucial skill for emotional well-being.
Now, shifting outwards a bit, Chapter 7 talks about empathy and compassion. How do those help us control our reactions?
Well, reframing helps with our internal state, right? Empathy and compassion extend that understanding and control to how we interact with others.
Okay.
They're key gateways to higher emotional intelligence, connecting better with people.
So how do we actually develop empathy? It's not just automatic, is it?
Not always. It's a skill you can cultivate. A big part is active listening, really focusing on what someone's saying, words, tone, body language.
Going beyond just the surface words.
Yeah, trying to hear the emotion behind the words and then validating that emotion, even if you don't feel the same way. Wow, that sounds really frustrating, or I can see why you'd feel disappointed.
So acknowledging their feeling without necessarily agreeing with their whole stance.
Exactly. It's about understanding their experience in that moment.
And compassion builds on that.
Right. Compassion is empathy plus a desire to help or alleviate suffering. It's about putting yourself in their shoes, really trying to feel what it might be like from their perspective.
But the book mentions boundaries here too, right? It's not about fixing them.
Crucial point. Empathy and compassion don't mean taking on their problems or becoming responsible for their feelings. It's about understanding, validating, offering support.
Without getting sucked in or trying to be their savior.
Precisely. And when you approach interactions with that mindset, you're much less likely to react defensively or with frustration yourself.
Because you have more understanding.
Exactly. You respond with more patience, more connection, which gives you more control over your own reactions in that interaction.
Moving to chapter 8, a really big one. Taking responsibility for our reactions. This feels central.
Absolutely pivotal.
Mm-hmm.
Recognizing that you are in control of your reactions, not blaming situations or other people. That's fundamental for emotional stability.
It's easy to say they made me angry, but this flips it.
It does. It forces you to look at your typical reactions. Are they actually serving you? Often we react out of habit, instinct, old conditioning.
Without thinking if it's helpful or even destructive.
Right. Taking responsibility empowers you to choose responses that align with your values, your goals, who you want to be.
It's not about suppressing the feeling, but choosing the action.
Exactly. Feel the feeling, process it, but then decide consciously how to respond, creating that pause again, that space for choice.
And if our reaction does cause harm, the book talks about making amends.
Yes. Responsibility includes accountability. If your reaction hurt someone or damaged a relationship, making amends is part of owning it.
Repairs the relationship, builds trust.
And reinforces your own commitment to doing better next time. It's about integrity.
Okay, next up, chapter 9. Building emotional resilience. What does that mean in this context, like an emotional immune system?
That's a great analogy. It's your capacity to withstand stress, adversity, hardship, and to bounce back from emotional setbacks when they happen.
So it's crucial for managing reactions when things get tough.
Absolutely vital for mental health, well-being, and keeping that control when you're under pressure.
And it's not about just being tough and never feeling bad.
Definitely not. Resilience isn't suppression. It's acknowledging feelings, understanding where they come from, and learning healthy ways to manage them without letting them overwhelm you.
You can't control the waves, but you can learn to surf.
Exactly. You can't control all the challenges, but you can build the inner strength and skills to navigate the emotional ups and downs.
What helps build that resilience?
Several things. Flexibility and adaptability are key. Life throws curveballs, right? Being able to adjust and pivot is crucial.
Not getting stuck when plans change.
Right. Also, cultivating a positive mindset. Not toxic positivity, but holding on to hope, focusing on what you can control, finding silver linings.
Okay. And chapter 10 talks about learning to forgive quickly. How does that fit with resilience and not reacting?
Forgiveness of others, and importantly of ourselves, is incredibly liberating. It's a powerful strategy for resilience and peace.
It's not about saying what happened was okay.
Not at all. It's about choosing to free yourself from the burden of resentment, anger, bitterness. Holding grudges is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die.
Oof. Yeah, it harms you.
Totally. It drains your energy, keeps you stuck in the past, makes you more reactive to anything that reminds you of the hurt.
So forgiveness is mainly for our own benefit.
Largely, yes. You take back your power, find peace. The process often starts with acknowledging the hurt. It's real, it's valid.
Okay.
Then try to step back, reflect objectively. Is holding on to this grudge actually helping you?
Probably not.
Then make a conscious decision to start letting go. It's a process, might take time, but making that choice is key. Empathy can help too, trying to see their perspective, even if you don't excuse their actions.
Chapter 11 touches on letting go of ego and pride. How do those get in the way of emotional control?
Oh, massively. Ego and pride can act like shields, protecting us from feeling vulnerable. But they also become barriers.
Barriers to what?
To admitting mistakes, learning from experiences, connecting authentically with others. They make us defensive.
So letting go isn't about having low self-esteem.
Not at all. It's about having a healthier, more balanced perspective. Recognizing you're not always right, you're fallible, it's okay to be vulnerable. That's just human.
How do you notice ego taking over?
Good question. Are you getting overly defensive? Refusing feedback? Always needing the last word? Those are clues.
Right.
Recognizing those patterns is the first step.
And what helps loosen that grip?
Cultivating humility is huge. Not being meek, but having a realistic view of yourself in the world. You matter, but so do others. Your views count, so do theirs.
Empathy helps here too, seeing other viewpoints.
Definitely. Makes you less defensive. It's a continuous journey. Letting go of ego takes patience, willingness to change. But the payoff, better relationships, more self-control, is huge.
Okay, chapter 12 brings in cultivating gratitude daily. How does being thankful help manage reactions?
Gratitude is such a powerful tool. It shifts your whole outlook, creates a buffer against negativity and those impulsive reactions.
It's more than just saying thanks.
Much more. It's truly feeling thankful for things, big and small. This appreciation gives you perspective, especially when things are tough.
So it balances out the negative. It doesn't deny difficulties exist.
Exactly. It's not about ignoring bad stuff, but acknowledging the good that also exists, finding lessons or silver linings even in hard times.
How does that stop a reaction?
If you're facing a challenge, consciously finding even one thing to be grateful for can shift your focus, reduce that knee-jerk negativity that often fuels bad reactions.
Then making it a daily habit, like a gratitude journal.
Yeah, that can actually rewire your brain over time to naturally notice the good more. It builds that positive baseline.
Chapter 13 focuses on improving communication skills. Seems logical that better communication leads to better emotional balance.
Absolutely. Good communication fosters healthier relationships, which reduces triggers and conflicts in the first place. It's a skill you can definitely develop.
What are the key parts?
Active listening is fundamental. Truly hearing and understanding the other person, not just waiting to jump in, shows respect, opens dialogue.
And how we express ourselves.
Crucial. Aim for assertive, not aggressive. Stand up for your needs respectfully without violating theirs. Choose words carefully.
And nonverbals matter too. Body language, tone.
Hugely. Often more than the words. Make sure they align with your message. It's all part of being understood clearly and avoiding misunderstandings that can lead to reactions.
It's an ongoing process, right? Being open to feedback.
Totally. Admitting when you could have communicated better shows maturity, strengthens relationships, and helps you manage your own responses better next time.
When conflicts do happen, Chapter 14 is about de-escalating them effectively. How do we do that? It's not about winning.
Definitely not about winning. It's about managing a volatile situation, moving towards resolution. The first step. Try to stay calm yourself.
Easier said than done.
True. But your calm can influence their emotions. Then, attentive listening, really focus on their words and perspective. Show empathy, even if you disagree. Validate their feelings.
That can diffuse tension.
Often, yes. And watch your language. Avoid absolutes like always or never. Use I statements.
I feel frustrated when, instead of you always make me.
Exactly. Expresses your feeling without blaming. And if possible, suggest solutions. Show you want to resolve it, not just fight.
The goal is just to stop it getting worse in that moment.
Often, yes. Immediate resolution isn't always possible, but preventing escalation is key. It's a vital part of not reacting destructively.
Chapter 15 covers setting healthy boundaries. Protecting our well-being seems essential for emotional control.
Absolutely essential. Boundaries aren't walls. There are clear lines defining what's okay with you and what's not. Your space, values, limits.
How do they help with reactions?
When boundaries are clear and respected, you feel safer, more valued, less likely to feel resentful or taking advantage of feelings that often fuel reactive behavior. They boost self-esteem.
Where do you start with setting them?
Self-awareness first. Understand your feelings, needs, values. Know what drains you, what makes you uncomfortable.
Then communicate them.
Clearly, assertively, but compassionately. Be direct. And remember, it's okay to say no. Crucial, actually.
And respecting others' boundaries too.
Yes, fosters mutual respect. Ultimately, setting boundaries is self-respect. Prioritizing your well-being over pleasing everyone.
Chapter 16 deals with managing stress and anxiety, huge factors in reactivity.
Right.
What are the key strategies here?
Definitely. Unmanaged stress makes us way more reactive. Mindfulness helps a lot staying present, not catastrophizing about the future or dwelling on the past, observing the stress without getting swept away.
And lifestyle stuff.
Massive impact. Regular exercise, great stress buster. Good nutrition fuels your brain. Enough sleep is non-negotiable for emotional regulation.
Mindset matters too, right? Reframing again.
Yes. How you interpret situations dramatically affects stress levels. Challenging negative thoughts, finding more balanced perspective.
And knowing when to get help.
Crucial. If stress or anxiety feels overwhelming, seeking professional support from a therapist is a sign of strength, not weakness. They can provide tools and strategies.
Chapter 17 talks about developing patience and tolerance. Impatience often leads to snapping reactions.
It really does. Cultivating patience and tolerance is about accepting you can't control everything or everyone. Focus on your response.
Patience is about accepting things take time.
Yeah. Understanding the natural pace of growth, change, situations unfolding. Tolerance is accepting discomfort or frustration without that immediate impulsive reaction. Accepting things won't always be exactly how you want them.
How do we practice these?
Self-awareness again. Notice when you feel impatient or intolerant. Label the feeling. Analyze the trigger. Why is this bothering you so much?
And mindfulness.
Helps you stay present. Makes it easier to accept the moment as it is rather than railing against it. Lessens that urge to react just because something isn't happening fast enough or perfectly.
Chapter 18 emphasizes practicing self-compassion regularly, being kind to ourselves. How does that connect to not reacting?
It's vital for resilience. Self-compassion is treating yourself with the same kindness you'd offer a friend who's struggling.
Recognizing imperfection is human.
Yes. Suffering, making mistakes. It's part of the shared human experience. You're not alone. So instead of harsh self-criticism when you mess up.
Offer comfort and understanding.
Exactly. Allow the difficult emotions, create a safe space for them internally without judgment. This reduces stress, boosts well-being.
And helps understand emotions without immediately reacting.
Right. You see the feeling without getting defensive or critical. It builds a healthier relationship with yourself, which sets the tone for everything else. Mindful habits help reflecting kindly, balanced perspective.
What about past emotional trauma? Chapter 19 discusses overcoming that baggage. That can really drive reactions.
Absolutely. Past trauma can create deep emotional wounds that get triggered in the present, leading to intense reactions. Healing involves understanding that impact and gaining control over those responses.
That's not about forgetting.
No, it's about acknowledging the validity of those feelings, identifying the sources, if possible, past events, relationships.
And then applying these emotional control skills.
Yes. Acknowledging the trauma's influence, reframing thoughts so you're not defined by the suffering, practicing emotional regulation, pausing before reacting to those triggers.
It's a journey, not a quick fix.
Definitely. A journey towards healing, growth, and becoming less controlled by the past.
Chapter 20 talks about embracing imperfections and mistakes. We touched on this with self-compassion, but why is accepting flaws so key?
Because we all have them. Trying to be perfect is exhausting and sets us up for failure and harsh reactions when we inevitably fall short. Embracing imperfection allows for growth and grace.
It's courageous, in a way.
It is. It means accepting you're human, a work in progress. Mistakes aren't the end. They're learning opportunities.
Acceptance isn't complacency, though.
Good point. It's understanding weaknesses without judgment so you can navigate them better, not using them as an excuse. See failure as a stepping stone.
Reflect, learn the lesson, let go of the self-pity.
Exactly. Imperfection is evidence you're trying, stepping out of your comfort zone. That's brave.
Chapter 21 brings in the growth mindset again, believing you can develop abilities through effort. How critical is this for emotional control?
Hugely critical. A growth mindset shifts focus from just the outcome to the process of learning and growing. Challenges become opportunities, not threats.
Effort becomes key, not just talent.
Right. Persistence matters. Feedback becomes valuable data, not personal criticism.
How does it help emotional resilience?
You understand, emotions are part of the journey. You can acknowledge them, learn from them, allow them without being controlled. Self-compassion fits perfectly here. Bad days happen, mistakes happen. It's part of growth.
Maintaining a positive outlook helps too.
Yes, finding the silver linings, applying it daily. Embrace challenges, be curious, see potential, learn from criticism. It builds emotional control over time.
Finally, Chapter 22 wraps up with maintaining emotional balance. This seems like the ultimate goal, bringing it all together.
It really is. That stable equilibrium, it benefits mental health and lets you be responsive, not reactive, like finding your calm center.
Impervious to the chaos around you.
Well, maybe not totally impervious, but much less affected. It requires understanding your triggers, practicing mindfulness, prioritizing self-care, sleep, nutrition, exercise.
And allowing emotions, not suppressing them.
Exactly. Healthy expression. Control, not repression. It's a journey of mastery, but it's achievable with practice and patience.
Wow. Okay, so the big takeaway really feels like the power isn't in stopping emotions, but in understanding and managing our reactions to them.
Precisely. We've covered so many tools: mindfulness, breathing, reframing, self-compassion, boundary setting. The list goes on.
And maybe the challenge for you, the listener, is to think about just one of these. How could applying just one technique change how you handle a tough situation this week?
Yeah, what might open up if you choose your reaction instead of letting the emotion just run the show? It's a powerful thought.
This deep dive gave us a great framework, but like we said, emotional mastery is ongoing work. Keep reflecting on your triggers, your responses. Maybe revisit these ideas.
Absolutely. Keep learning, keep practicing.
Thanks so much for joining us on this exploration of the power of not reacting.
Thank you.